Somewhere we've gotten off track, America, as race relations are worse today than they were 100 years ago. Our children are being taught literally everything is racist, including math, science, and literature, as those lessons are replaced with readings of genderqueer and My Two Daddies at drag queen story hours. We went from judging people on the content of their character to only seeing skin color and preferred gender, as we are told a person's identity is paramount, with their ability to do anything is irrelevant. Today, I'm going to lay out some events that might give us a clue as to when and why we went off course. Rosie the Riveter here, dropping more truth bombs to destroy fake news and propaganda. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to get new videos when they are uploaded. Now, let's get into today's riveting topic. So when did America go off the rails? When did our culture, priorities, and values get turned on their heads? I would say right about 2009, and after this video, you probably will be too. In 2008, the country as a whole took a great leap forward in regards to race relations as America elected their first African American president. Yet that feeling of progress would not last long. Within 6 months of Obama's inauguration, his friend, Harvard University professor Henry Louis Gates, was arrested by a Cambridge police officer. After acknowledging he didn't know all the details regarding the incident, Obama stated he believed
the Cambridge police acted stupidly in arresting somebody when there was already proof that they were in their own home.
Here are the facts. The police were called to Gates' home due to a reported possible break-in. Gates had made it inside by the time Sergeant James Crowley arrived, yet when asked to produce an ID to verify he was the owner, which is standard procedure, Gates refused initially. Accusing the officers of racism, Gates became loud, belligerent, and disorderly. That is why he was arrested. Obama pretended to smooth things over with the infamous beer summit in the White House Rose Garden, but he had already planted the seeds of division between law enforcement and citizens, especially black citizens, the fruits of which Cambridge still reaps today. The next major incident occurred in the spring of 2012, as Obama prepared to run for a second term. Trayvon Martin, a young black man, was shot and killed by neighborhood watchman George Zimmerman, who the media interestingly referred to as a white Hispanic. They rewrote history right before our eyes as they manipulated, falsified, and ignored evidence to push their agenda. The media plastered an image of a young, sweet-looking Trayvon all over their news reports to paint the narrative he was an innocent child gunned down in cold blood. Yet, Trayvon's own social media posts reveal a different story. He posted selfies smoking marijuana, showing off his gold teeth, and lewd hand gestures. While those things don't make you a bad person in and of themselves, the fact the media hid them and falsified who Trayvon was makes you wonder what else they lied about. Well, let me tell you. They edited Zimmerman's 911 call, twisting the conversation to make it look like he targeted Trayvon because he was black. They misreported injuries Zimmerman obtained, and prosecutors falsified evidence against Zimmerman. Evidence revealed that Trayvon attacked Zimmerman, had him on the ground, and was sitting on him while trying to bang his head into the concrete. Trayvon was shot out of self-defense, not because he was black, which is why Zimmerman was found not guilty. Never letting a crisis go to waste, though, Obama made it personal in a statement following Zimmerman's verdict.
When Trayvon Martin was first shot, I said that this could have been my son. Another way of saying that is Trayvon Martin could have been me.
Really? You don't say, Barack. Trayvon could have been your son, or that could have been you, huh? In response to Zimmerman's acquittal, the organization Black Lives Matter was formed, which I'll expand on in a moment. By August of 2014, BLM was ready when a cop shot Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri. Again, manipulated, misleading, and outright false reports dominated the media, with the truth and facts being the true victims of assassination. Initial reports claimed Brown was harassed and shot by Officer Darren Wilson while innocently walking down the street. Some witnesses claimed he was surrendering with his hands up and facing away from the officer when he was allegedly gunned down by the racist cop, sparking the rally cry, "Hands up, don't shoot." Except that was all lies, and unfortunately ones still believed today. The truth is, Brown had just robbed a convenience store and assaulted an employee. He attempted to grab the officer's gun while leaning in the cruiser window and fighting with Wilson. Brown was walking away, but Wilson was forced to defend himself as Brown turned and charged him. Obama's AG Eric Holder ordered multiple autopsies, and they all confirmed Wilson's account. So did many witnesses. Regardless, peaceful protests continued to turn into riots as instigators were bussed into town and started instigating violence. Many looked to Obama to condemn what was happening and calm the chaos, but he did just the opposite. Again, he memorialized the criminal and demonized the police officer. To add fuel to the fire, the day after the 2014 midterms, Obama had a meeting with BLM activists. According to the Reverend Al Sharpton, Mr. Obama was concerned about Ferguson staying on course in terms of pursuing what it was that he knew we were advocating. He said he hopes that we're doing all we can to keep peace. Exactly what course would that be, Mr. Obama, as there was nothing peaceful about it? BLM claimed to be fighting for the black community, yet it was black homes and black businesses that were looted, damaged, and burnt down during the riots, leaving a mess for residents to clean up after the instigators left town and went home. A month later, following the verdict of another officer-involved death of Eric Gardner, Obama stated he and Holder were not going to let up in the efforts to solve the problem of racist tensions that exists between law enforcement officers and minorities and communities nationwide. Except he wasn't solving anything. He was fanning the flames. 2 years later, why do these things always happen during election cycles? Anyway, on July 7th, 2016, Obama gave a lengthy speech on systemic racism within law enforcement. Hours later in Dallas, Texas, police officers protecting protesters at a Black Lives Matter march were specifically targeted and gunned down for being white and in uniform. 5 officers were killed and 9 others were wounded, along with 2 civilians. The massacre, in my opinion, was the direct result of Obama's blatant agenda to fertilize the seeds of racism that were actually dying before he took office. At their memorial service, he reaped the harvest of his racial division, claiming to police departments are still ruled by the ghosts of Jim Crow laws and slavery, both historically democratic policies, pushing gun control, defending the BLM agenda, as well as other despicable statements at the solemn event. Instead of honoring the officers who gave their lives protecting those Obama claims they supposedly hated, people actually marching to defund the police, he did what he does best: spread division. Can we really be that surprised, though? This is Marxism 101. Hillary Clinton's mentor and subject of her senior thesis, Saul Alinsky, laid it all out in his book Rules for Radicals, which hardcore leftists like Hillary and Obama use as their Bible. Sowing dissension, especially by race, gender, and class, is paramount to dividing and tearing down the people so communism can be instituted. Thanks to the mis and disinformation spread by the media and Obama, Trayvon Martin's death opened the door for the Black Lives Matter movement to develop. In response to Zimmerman's acquittal, Opal Tometi, Alicia Garza, and Patrisse Cullors founded the global organization in 2013. So who are these ladies? Let's play Connect the Dots, shall we, Patriots? Opal Tometi's focus is immigration, as she is the daughter of illegal immigrants from Nigeria. She defended illegals while working for ACLU in college and continues her efforts today as the executive director of Black Alliance for Just Immigration. Alicia Garza is a self-proclaimed expert from the Soros Institute for the New Economic Thinking. George Soros is a major donor to BLM and Democrats such as the Clintons, Obama, and Biden. He has also funded countless DAs and prosecutors who dismissed and even refused to charge BLM rioters during 2020, but relentlessly go after Trump and his supporters. The George Floyd riots became a gigantic cash cow for BLM as the organization accumulated massive amounts of money, including $82 billion from corporations. A large portion of those donations went straight to Act Blue, an organization which in turn sent those funds directly to 2020 Democrat candidates and organizations. Kamala Harris also raised funds to bail out 2020 rioters. Patrisse Cullors describes herself as a working-class, queer black woman and admits they are trained Marxists. She studied for over a decade under her mentor, Eric Mann, a former member of the domestic terrorist group, the Weather Underground, with Bill Ayers. Ayers is known for bombing the Capitol in 1971, causing $350,000 in damage, but no charges were ever made. Instead, Ayers received a prestigious professorship where he and Obama partnered on the Chicago Annenberg Challenge. Despite claiming Ayers was just a guy who lives in my neighborhood, Obama launched his political career in Ayers' home in 1995. Both Obama and Ayers were highly involved in the Association of Community Organizers for Reform Now, or ACORN, a radical left-wing activist organization. ACORN was finally exposed for money laundering and voter fraud despite congressional Democrats stonewalling any investigation. They wanted to overwhelm the financial system to the point of it crashing so they could bring forth communism. The organization dismantled, but the corruption continues through their hundreds of front groups and offshoots, like BLM. And Dream Defenders, the organization that actually fostered the Hands Up, Don't Shoot rally cry. There is so much more on ACORN I could tell you, but that's for another video. Another Weather Underground disciple, Susan Rosenberg, was given a position on BLM's fundraising organization board. She belonged to the offshoot group May 19th Communist Organization, or M19, and was convicted of domestic terrorism for bombing the Capitol. Bill Clinton pardoned her in 2001, while January 6th protesters remain in jail for just taking a selfie in the rotunda. When reviewing the organization's beliefs, BLM's philosophies are nothing more than critical race theory, an ideology inspired by Lenin's doctrines and applied to race by Harvard professor Derek Bell, another friend and mentor of Barack Obama. But racial division is only part of it. From their own website, before they scrubbed it, BLM proudly posted objectives in conjunction with the LGBTQ+ agenda, aiming to dismantle the nuclear family, the patriarchy, and cisgender privilege, while promoting single mothers and gay parents, as well as eliminating capitalism. This is pure Marxism. Destroy the family, destroy the individual, destroy law and order, destroy the country. Now can you see why in Obama's first term he totally supported traditional marriage, but did a complete 180 in 2015 after the SCOTUS ruling? It was all part of the plan. If you ask me, Ferguson was nothing more than a dry run for the 2020 riots. Just like in 2014, peaceful protests were infiltrated by nefarious BLM as well as Antifa activists. Pallets of bricks randomly and mysteriously placed in areas where there was no construction, as well as other evidence, implies the riots were planned. Violence and destruction were allowed as cities burned down while rioters demanded officials defund the police. Colliers was forced to step down once it was revealed she used BLM funds to buy a multi-million-dollar mansion and throw parties. No equity in that, Marxist. BLM chose former Clinton aide Mark Elias, who funded the completely made-up Steele dossier used by Obama and Biden against Trump, to take her place. Notice anything yet? Are the pieces starting to fall into place, folks? BLM's support and funding has plummeted over the last several years as corruption, fraud, and deceit have been exposed. Yet they are still able to victimize cities again and collect money through lawsuits. I am not saying there is no racism in law enforcement. Like in every occupation and in every country, racism does exist. But it was minimal, as was the division, hatred, and vitriol towards law enforcement before Obama took office and pushed the defund the police. Even Trayvon Martin's mother thinks that's a bad idea. If the left is so adamant Trump incited MAGA and January 6th, then I contend Obama incited BLM riots and attacks on cops with his constant rhetoric against police officers and white people. Bill Ayers suggested in 2020 that the Civil War had already begun. But as Julian Assange says, if wars can be started by lies, peace can be started by truth. The truth will set us free, patriots. I'm Rosie the Riveter, and that's my 2 cents. But what do you think? Leave your comments down below. If you enjoy my content, please consider supporting my work on Patreon. You can find all my videos and my blog, Liberating Letters, at thefactspaper.com. You can also start your own research on the Facts Paper by exploring the thousands of links to articles I have, including those noted in my videos. Sharing the truth fake news propagandists won't. Investigate and discover the truth for yourself.